So if you answer a question like this, we're going to go on a journey starting in the old block in room 4, looking at the door of room 4, number 2, going out into the corridor for number 3, being outside the old block for number 4, being in the car park for number 5, outside Georgie Porgy's for number 6, ice cream van for number 7, and a conclusion for number 8. Each of these places is going to be linked to a topic. Number 1 is the introduction, number 2 is about education, number 3 is a link sentence, number 4 is about young people, number 5 is the economy, number 6 is women, number 7 is the Jews, and number 8 is a conclusion. This question is worth 13 marks. It asks if the biggest change to life in Germany had to do with education. It might at first seem that this question only needs you to write about education. However, this is not the case. You have to show that you know about the changes the Nazis brought to other aspects of life in Germany, affecting things like young people, women, Jews, and the economy as well. You then have to make a judgment about which of these had the greatest effect on the lives of German people. We're always going to begin the journey to answer this type of question in room 4. Because this question asks about education, your first sentence will include the words educated or education and change. If the question asked about the way young people, women, Jews or the economy was affected, then you would begin your answer accordingly. The next thing that features in your journey is the door of room 4. On the back of the door is a list of the subjects taught in Nazi schools. Try to visualize these subjects in your mind to remember them. They include domestic science, the science of breeding or eugenics, sport for both boys and girls, and health biology. The next part of the journey involves using a sentence to link the topic in the question, in this case education, to the other aspects of life that were affected. Part 3 shows Mrs. Lumber in the corridor outside the room. She says, there were a number of other changes the Nazis made to life in Germany. Outside the old block is Mr. Newth, 82, with a youth. Outside school, young Germans were encouraged to join the Hitler Youth, he said. Boys were taught military skills and girls were taught to be perfect wives and mothers. By 1939, 82% of youngsters were members of the Hitler Youth. Point 5 on the journey is the car park, which represents changes the Nazis made to the economy. I'd like you to imagine that there's a race between 2 Volkswagen cars going on. The letters in the words race, R-A-C-E, and Volkswagen, V-W-S, make up a memory message. R stands for rearmament. Rearmament put many Germans back into work, and huge numbers were employed building motorways called autobahns. That's what the letter A stands for. The letter C stands for conscription, which was introduced to force men to join the army, and E stands for encouraged. Workers were encouraged to work hard by the Strength Through Joy movement. The V stands for Volkswagen cars, which were put up as prizes, and W stands for win, because workers could also win holidays if they worked hard. The S stands for 6 million, which were the numbers of unemployed that were in Germany in 1932. The Nazis reduced this to 100,000. The next place on the journey is Georgie Porgy's. I'd like you to imagine that outside the nursery are lots of mothers waiting for their children. Women in Germany were expected to have lots of children. Women were encouraged to give up their jobs through propaganda such as Kinder, Kirche, Kusch, children, church and kitchen. Medals were awarded to women who had 8 children, and loans were given to encourage marriage. At the ice cream van, I'd like you to imagine that there are 19 pupils and 33 Nazi soldiers. They're stopping the pupils buying things because the van has been taken over by the Jews. On one side of the van is a poster about the Nuremberg laws. You can buy this poster for £19.35. These laws ban Germans from marrying Jews. On the other side is a poster for Kristallnacht. This poster cost £19.38. On the night of broken glass, Jews were killed and their shops and synagogues were attacked. In conclusion, while education had a massive effect on young people, there were some other important changes to life in Germany during these years. One was in the treatment of young people generally. They were encouraged to join youth movements and spy on their parents. 2 was in economic policy, which put the whole country on the road to recovery. 3 was the way women were treated, being forced to give up work and stay at home to bring up children. 4 was the way the Jews and other minorities were picked on.